We are taking question and answer on the story of village Palampur. First is, every village in India is surveyed once in 10 years during the census, and some of the details are presented in the following format. Fill up the following based on information on Palampur. So location, let us see the answer. The location is, it is given that in the book, if you see that Western Uttar Pradesh has been given. So you can just give some answer like this, or rather you can give the answer like this, that Palampur is around 3 kilometers from Raiganj, and on the same road we have Shahpur. Now Shahpur is a small town, and this Raiganj is a big village. Palampur is a small village. So this is the idea, because it's not clearly given that it is in Bulandshahr district or Western Uttar Pradesh. So I'm just giving you an idea that this is the better answer rather than this one. Then we have total area of the village. So if you say this 226, it will be 226. But I'm going to change this. Say the irrigated land is 200 and unirrigated land, say it is 50. So now the answer will change like this. 200 plus 50 plus 26 is 200 plus 50 plus 26, it is going to be 276, right? So make it 276, because if you see 200 and 226, you just add them, you get 226. But the unirrigated land, if you give some number, you are going to get 276. So this is the better one to answer. Then we have the land use. This is irrigated, unirrigated. So you can just give any number. As we have given this 200, you can give 50. You can leave this also. And you just have to add and then write. Now the facilities here. Facilities, educational, there are 2 primary schools and 1 high school in Palampur. 1 primary health center in terms of medical, and 1 private dispensary is there. Market, as we have seen that it is in the vicinity of 3 kilometers from Raiganj, and Shahpur is nearby. And these are the markets. Whatever is produced here, it is being sent to these 2 places. Electrical supply or electric supply. So most of the houses have electric connections. And because the Palampur people, they are mostly into farming, around 75% are in farming. So the tube wells in the field, they all run by electric powers. And also there are small businesses, they use the electricity. Then communication. There can be 2 types of communication. That is the linkage between different areas or regions, and also the communication, that is the proper talking, phone or etc. So it is well connected with the neighboring villages and towns, as we have seen 3 kilometers from Raiganj. And the roads are all weather conditions, or all weather road. That means it will work in all the different weathers like monsoon and hot weather, etc. And this all weather road connects it to Raiganj and further to the Shahpur, as we have seen here. There are different kinds of transport for communication, like bullock carts, tongas, bogies, motorcycles, jeeps, tractors, trucks. These are also present. And the nearest town, as I said, this is the smallest town nearby, which is Shahpur. Next one is, modern farming methods require more inputs, which are manufactured in industry. Do you agree? So you can say yes, modern farming methods are indeed required, and they are being used all over the country, but they require inputs from industry, which are manufactured in the industry. So modern farming requires various inputs, like they require chemical fertilizers, pesticides, pump sets, farm machinery, electricity of course, diesel, the high yielding variety seeds, the water supply. So most of these, like fertilizers, tools, implements, they are manufactured in industry. And these HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds, these are developed in agricultural research laboratories. And machine industry provides various kinds of implements, irrigation pumps, farming machinery to improve the productivity and also to minimize the farming efforts. The chemical and soil engineering based industry, they provide fertilizers and pesticides to boost the agriculture. Water supply is done by canals and tanks, and electricity supplied by the powerhouses. How did the spread of electricity help farmers in Palampur? So electricity came early to Palampur and most of the houses have electricity. So its major impact was to transform the system of irrigation. Previously, they will use the wells, and they will take out the water from the wells, and it was time consuming. So in Palampur, electricity powers all the tube wells now in the fields and is used in various types of small businesses also. So people saw that this electric run tube wells, they could irrigate much more than the ordinary ones, that is taking out water from the well and then irrigating. Is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Yes, if some area is under irrigation, if we can increase the irrigation, then the production will be higher. So it is important to increase the area under irrigation, because if a country has to increase its production, it has to increase the irrigational area. That irrigational area, because if the irrigation is proper, then the area can grow the crop better. Construct a table on the distribution of land among the 450 families of Palampur. So there are 150 families, they don't have any land. 250, they are having more than 2 hectares of land, and 60, they are having, this is less than 2 hectares of land, and 60 is greater than 2 hectares of land, and some of them are having 10 hectares and more of land. 1 hectare is 100 meter by 100 meter area. Why are the wages for farm laborers in Palampur less than minimum wages? And this is because of the competition. Wherever there is a competition, that is, there are many people who are there for a job, then they may work in lesser amount. So a wage laborer might be employed on a daily basis, or for one particular farm activity like harvesting, or for the whole year. So most small farmers, they need to borrow money to arrange for the capital, because they don't have money, they are poor. So they borrow from large farmers or village moneylenders or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. Now the rate of interest of such loan is quite high. Now this put to get distress, in these people to repay the loan. Hence, to pay these loans, they are ought to opt for any job as farm laborers. So as I said, I'll give you an example. So if only one person can do the job, he will ask money according to his skill. If say 3 people are able to do that job, and if you go to one, then the lowest one you are going to take. And if there are multiple people, okay, then the minimum wage, if it is 115, maybe the government has decided in 2011 that minimum the wage should be 115. But if there are so many people, if you go here and you say him, are you going to work for 80? Now he's going to work for 80, this guy and this guy also will work for 80 rupees. So that is how, because of the competition, the Palampur people, laborers, because of this scenario and because they want work, they will work for the minimum wages. In your region, talk to 2 laborers. Choose either farm laborers or laborers working at construction sites. What wages do they get? Are they paid cash or kind? Do they get to work regularly? Are they in debt? So this is the answer you need to give. I'll just give you a hint how you can give the answer. So you can say in our region there are 2 laborers, namely Ram Khilawan and Basanti, who are husband and wife working as casual constructing laborers. Due to drought, they had to leave their village in search of employment. They get approximately 50 to 60 rupees per day, which they are paid in cash. So you can change the amount also while answering. And they do not get work regularly because there are large number of workers seeking employment, due to which they agree to work for low wages, as we saw in the previous question. Because of irregular work and low wages, they are unable to fulfill their needs and are in debt. What are different ways of increasing production on the same piece of land? Use examples to explain. So when we have a land which is fixed, so there are 2 methods. First is the modern farming. That is modern way of farming. Then only if you have this region, then you can use the HYV, high yielding variety. You can use fertilizers, you can use the pesticides, and water supply will be there, and various other things. And of course the advanced advanced tractors and machineries like this. So these are all the modern farming techniques, and when you use modern farming techniques, you can grow more. And there is one more method which is called the multiple farming. And multiple farming is what? In the same place, same area, in 1 year you are going to grow more than one crop. That is, in Palampur, people generally grow 3 crops. 2 are the khadyan, like wheat and rice, that is the eatable staple food they grow, like rice, wheat, jowar, bajra, etc. And then the third one, normally the people, they grow potato as the third one. So these are the 2 methods. So let us go and see formally. To grow more than 1 crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. So it is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. So all farmers in Palampur grow at least 2 main crops, that is the eatable crops, and many are growing potato as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. And the second thing you are going to mention is the modern farming. Describe the work of farmer with 1 hectare of land. As I said, 1 hectare is simply 100 meter by 100 meter of area, region. So a farmer having 1 hectare of land for farming is called subsistence farmer, because 1 hectare of land is too less for even the sustenance of or subsistence of a small family, because a family of 2 parents and 3 kids or 2 kids and also the dependents, all the crop that will be grown here will be eaten or will be, you can say, consumed by the family only. So production is very low, and it is very difficult for the farmer to provide for his family. And apart from working on his own field, he has to work on the field of rich farmers or work as a casual laborer to survive, because this is not enough. A small farmer has no irrigation facilities and he has no working capital, so he is also not able to buy modern machineries, HYV seeds or insecticides or pesticides. So in the absence of capital, because he has no money, less money, he has to take loan from moneylenders, sahukars, who charges a high interest rate, and he is rarely able to repay the loan and eventually falls into a debt trap. Bhyaj Chakra. How do the medium and large farmers obtain capital for farming? How it is different from the small farmers? So in contrast to small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own savings from farming. So they are thus able to arrange for the capital needed. So medium and large farmers, they have at least 2 hectares or greater than 2 hectares of land, and some may have 10 hectares of land also. So these are medium and large farmers because they have a good amount of land. They have some savings, so now they can do the farming, so they don't have to go to any money lender or to bank. Now how it is different from the small farmers? Small farmers, because they don't have that much of money and they might not have any land, or they may have very less land, like 1 hectare or something land, and because the small farmers generally have big families, so they are divided. These 1 hectare will be divided further. Now they don't have money, so they have to, for initial, you can say initial cultivation etc. process, they have to go to the money lenders, and money lenders would charge them very high, exorbitant amount of interest. For example, we talked about Savita. So the money lender gave her the money at 24% of interest rate. That is, if she is going to take 100 rupees, she has to give 124 rupees in 4 months. So she bought 3,000 rupees. So she actually took 3,000 rupees from Tejpal, and now you can see that the amount of money she has to retain is quite high. And this is the problem of farmer, that they take money, then again they have to pay the bhyaj or interest, and they for paying the bhyaj also they have to give money. And if at all it happens that the farming doesn't work or the crop fails, then their life is simply, you can't imagine their life then. It will be, they will be in debt trap, and they just have to pay money like this, and they can't. That is why you have seen in Maharashtra and other places, the farmers are, going for, or they are opting for suicide. and that should not be the case. On what terms did Savita get a loan from Tejpal Singh? We just talked about that just now. Would Savita's condition be different if she could get a loan from the bank at a low rate of interest? Obviously, Savita is a small farmer. Now she planned to cultivate wheat on her just small 1 hectare land. So besides seeds, fertilizers, pesticide, she would need some hard cash, that is the Karyashil Punji. So she needed cash to buy water and repair her farm instruments. So she estimated that the working capital or Karyashil Punji itself would cost minimum 3,000 rupees, as I just mentioned earlier. She didn't have the money, so she decided to borrow from Tejpal Singh, a large farmer. Now this Tejpal Singh agrees to give Savita at a loan, the interest rate is 24%, and this is quite high for 4 months. Now which is quite high interest rate. Savita also had to promise to work on his business. So apart from giving this huge amount on return, now the Tejpal has taken promise from Savita that now you are going to work in the harvest season in my land for 35 per day. Rupees 35 is nothing. Savita knew that this wage is quite low and she will have to work very hard to complete the harvesting on her own field and then work as a farm labor. So she has to work hard on her field and then she has to go to Tejpal land and work for just 35 rupees. Savita agreed to these tough conditions. Why? Because she has 3 kids. She has to feed them. As she knew that getting a loan is difficult for any small farmer. If Tejpal Singh is giving, just take it. So Savita's condition would have been different if she could have gone get a loan from the bank at a low rate of interest. Because the interest rate of, if there is some scheme, government scheme, or even if it is not, then 7 to 8% is the interest rate, and that is also per annum. That is per annum, that is per year, not for this small 4 months or 5 months like this. So the government is doing, the cooperatives and banks, they are doing something, there are various schemes they are, you can say, establishing and giving so that the small farmers like Savita can be benefited. Talk to some old residents in your region and write a short report on the changes in irrigation and changes in production methods during the last 30 years. So on talking to 2 residents, Ramlal and Dharam Singh, now this question is totally has to be answered by you. I'm just giving you an idea. You can change the name, you can change the numbers. So on talking to 2 old residents, Ramlal and Dharam Singh, you came to know about the irrigation methods that were traditionally in use in your area. They told me that earlier they were dependent on rainfall, that is the monsoon, and later on they started to use the Persian wheel or draw water from the wells. With development of technology, tube wells were used for more better and effective irrigation. And in the farming methods, traditionally they plowed the field with plows drawn by bullocks, which was very difficult and time-consuming process. So they use ordinary seeds and cow dung manure for fertilization. Because it is easily available, they don't have to buy it. But since the changes in the technology, the farmers started using the modern farming techniques, and they are buying HYV seeds, high-yielding variety seeds, chemical fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, and modern machinery like the tractors and threshers, which has led to an increase in yield per hectare and improved the lives of the farmers. What are the non-farmer or non-farming activities taking place in your region or Palampur, you can say? Make a short list. So dairy is common activity in many families of our region, you can say. So let me just point them up that dairy is there, shopkeeping is there, small scale manufacturing is there, shopkeeping I already said, then transportation is there. So these are the 4 points you're going to make. Then you can just exemplify them. For example, dairy is a common activity in many families in our region, or you can say Palampur. Some people are involved in small scale manufacturing. So dairy, small scale manufacturing in their homes or in the field, like production of the jaggery by Mishri Lal in the text it is given. A few people are involved in shopkeeping, that is shopkeepers and traders who buy various goods from the wholesale markets in the cities and they would come and sell them in the villages. Some people near the bus stand, they have opened shops also selling the eatables. So shopkeeping is also there. Some people are in transportation. So transportation is one more non-farming activities in Palampur. So transportation sector, ferrying people and carrying goods from one place to another in different types of vehicles. For example, in the text it is given that people like Kareem opened a computer class center. and also provided employment to 2 women who had a diploma in computer application. So what can be done so that more non-farmer or non-farming production activities can be started in villages? So the villages must be made aware of non-farm production activities and their benefits, because most of them, they are dependent, they are totally dependent, that like 75% of Palampur is doing the farming activities, agriculture activities. Only 25% are in non-farming activities. So they need to be made aware of all these and their benefits. They must also be taught the method of doing such activities, and the villagers who have the impression that they can earn only by farming must be given proper guidance and help to do such activities like the dairy, like the small scale manufacturing, then the transportation, then the shopkeeping, like this. All these can be, or computer classes, as we see about Kareem. So computer classes, all these are there that can be opted.